Hey, how's it going, guys? Rarity Games here, and as always, I'm joined by Chris, and I'm Eric. It's been a long time. We are so happy to get back into chilling, doing a podcast. Because wow, it's been a little while. We've been slacking.
A lot of news, a lot of changes.
Yeah, a lot of news and a lot of stuff going on. You know, in a personal life too. We're getting ready to move soon, so we're gonna have a little bit of a new setup going on. Probably the next podcast you guys see. Yeah, but other than that, whole lot of gaming news, like you said.
Yeah.
Like wow. Like it's been an incredible couple of weeks for not really thinking anything was coming besides the game releases. Like, and it's just been like news after news, and then Blizzcon and this and
it's
that.
firmly like, third, fourth quarter, like game season. Everything's dropping.
But like it didn't seem like it was a heavy one, and then everything came anyway.
I think we're like in the eye of the storm. There's been so many things that like have dropped that you might not necessarily consider in your wheelhouse, or at least I wouldn't consider in my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. But like they're on the to-do list now. Like case in point, like Luigi's Mansion 3. Like not a game necessarily I would rush out and get on day one, but it's getting some really positive reviews. It looks very fun, family oriented. I kind of want to see what the Guigi mechanic is all about.
I'm not even worried about it.
As weird as that is. They announced that they are selling a heck of a lot of Switch lights. That's taking off as a super popular system.
Yeah.
They're addressing Joy-Con drift again.
Away.
For the second, third time, depending upon how you look at it.
And then all the next gen stuff going on, and a lot of delays happening because of that.
A lot of PS4, PS5 transition news. A lot of Xbox Whisper transition news as Xbox slowly nods like, oh hey, all of the Xbox One controllers will work on the Xbox whatever 2 Scarlet is.
They just released the super new, like, what is it? What kind of controller is it called?
The Elite 2.
Elite, okay, it is the Elite 2. I thought they had a new name for it.
And then they also just released 2 new ones as well they're coming up with XO19. They're like big fan event in London that they're making a big thing out over in Europe. And then for one of my personal highlights of this holiday season that I'm looking for is EA's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
They have Death Stranding.
They have a special edition controller for that for Xbox with like the
Elite 2 as well. Probably.
Yeah, like the black and red Plague Trooper, and it comes with like a charging base so the controller.
Dude, there's a lot of cool stuff with that.
But because it's Star Wars licensed merchandise and it comes with a charging dock for a regular controller with 300? A charging dock, no, 140.
What does it? But then the game, so it's 200.
No, this is separate from the game. Yeah.
Oh, so it's just so then 200.
So that's cool, but you can literally get a Gen 1 Elite controller for 130, 140.
And they're really good. But this one I've heard nothing but amazing things about. And the charging dock thing is the most crazy thing, that it has a case, the case with it.
Yes.
It's literally a carrying case, quite like this for my headphones here, but so you have the controller in it, and at the bottom is a battery pack, and it'll wirelessly charge your controller wherever you're at, and then you could plug that in at home and use it as like a dock essentially.
Yeah. So what they did with the Elite 2, one of the changes was they did the PS4 style of it as a built-in rechargeable lithium rather than having the external rechargeables or AA rechargeables or the multiple options they had with the first Elite and all the other Xbox controllers, which is fine. But since they went to that other built-in one, they actually just put contacts right on the back of the controller that kind of seat up and match like some of the third-party products they have out there. Yeah. But it's first-party now, and it works awesome and looks really nice.
That's what PlayStation has, the same thing. That weird like controller port in the front, you can dock the controllers, and they do charge from the front as well.
From the front it's cool, but what I'm saying is, what this is almost like a old school cordless phone. It has like metal contacts on the back of the controller.
Yeah, it's like a magnet,
and it just lines up almost like the AirPods or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people have been going with that style. I've been seeing that a lot on phones and like phone cases, that magnet charger.
But yeah, a lot of PlayStation 5 news as well. Mark Cerny getting out there talking about.
Well, yeah, we did talk about that on the last podcast.
We absolutely did, but it's still, just fueling the fire of a 1 year away next gen console race that everybody's.
And as I mentioned, Ubisoft being one of the big ones, and Last of Us 2, they all delayed. They pushed back.
Watch Dogs Legion.
Ubisoft went hard and just delayed everything they were planning. Having Ghost Recon just come out, they saw how Ghost Recon, the reception of that, and they were like, Okay, we're gonna make sure her games are a little more polished.
It was not only critical. I don't want to say a failure, but critically ragged upon.
Yeah.
And it did not sell well at all. The game came out 3 weeks ago, something like that.
I did
and
a
it's
video
already
on it, and I love the game.
It's already on sale on the digital stores for like $45, and in the physical stores for like $40. So that's never a good sign. 3 weeks after your game comes out to get a $20 price cut, like that's a third of its value. So it's not selling at all for EA, which is surprising because they usually put out a pretty solid product. Yeah, but this one just seems like it was
totally
a new story
ready.
in like an older rehashed engine that just didn't make enough improvements to differentiate itself from the other game. It almost feels like it could have been like almost like an add-on or like a standalone add-on DLC type thing, and they just rolled it out into its own product.
Before we keep getting into it, what I mentioned early in the podcast, for you guys, do not forget we are now on audio podcasts.
Yes.
You guys can finally not go and just listen to the podcast.
Yeah, we are SoundCloud and Google Podcasts.
Multiple places already. We're on Podcast Addict, where you can actually download the episode and listen offline if you want. And then Google Podcasts and SoundCloud.
Yep.
And
we're working on Apple Podcasts as well, but that certification process takes a little while.
Longer. Yeah, I think we're also gonna try to hop on Stitcher, and then that's pretty much it overall for now. If you guys have like a really good podcast service that you enjoy listening to, let us know in the comments, and we will try to hop on there too. But it's all set up now, and it's going to be every single podcast that we record at the very least. Our podcasts will be up every now and then. If we do like a longer, like singular episode, I might throw that up there. But every podcast
or
you
if
can
we're
find
reviewing like trailers or something like that, you know.
Yep, and I'm really happy to get that out there. And you guys don't got any excuse. You don't have to watch this long video. You go check all that out, and then come to the YouTube for our extra content that we put out constantly.
Put your headphones in at the gym.
Yeah, we're gonna get back on the grind real soon because we're getting a new setup going, and we're gonna have a lot more space and a lot better of a.
And one of the upcoming audio podcasts to look forward to is going to be the Jedi Fallen Order one, where we're gonna have all kinds of stuff to say.
Yeah,
so much stuff.
I have a guest that I want to do a podcast with him as well. He's very one of my buddy Aaron. I actually haven't seen him in quite a while, so it should be interesting.
Yeah,
have him on the podcast. He's a huge Star Wars fan, so I wanted to get him in there like a week or so after the game too, to see his review on that. But yeah, we got a lot. Put it that way, a lot in store for Rarity Games, and I'm only gonna push harder. We're getting merchandise going real soon.
So
I got stickers already made. Be giving them to people. But yeah, back to the games. Where were you at?
Well, what I was saying, speaking of a lot news-wise, we're just coming out of BlizzCon.
Yes.
BlizzCon announced the new Diablo 4 that has been long rumored and promised and hoped for and hopefully awesome. The trailer was very cool. As a classic Diablo fan that has played literally all the Diablo games and read even some Diablo books, I look forward to playing Diablo 4. It looks very classic, original Diablo, which sounds great. They didn't really mess with the formula too much. Hopefully the story is going to be captivating enough. It really grabs you. And
it looked interesting that story trailer.
Diablo 1 almost had like a Dark Souls style of storytelling, where like you would get pieces of the story by interacting when killing bosses and doing stuff, and then a lot of it you would just have to go through and like read a book and click items and actually
and there's always still some of that, but you don't have to do that for a main story.
Diablo 2, partially because of the technology upgrade from generation to generation, had a lot more of like video cutscene interactive, and a lot more people played Diablo 2.
That's when I found out about it when I was younger. I was like, Diablo 2. Ooh.
Diablo 3 was good. It launched with some problems with the marketplace and the online multiplayer that they were kind of integrating into the world, which, as we see now, happens to so many games that try and launch that live service. Little did we know Diablo was a live service game for Diablo 3.
Yeah, but man, it's gonna But yeah, Diablo 4 looked really cool so far. I checked out the gameplay trailer a little bit. It's Diablo, upgrade it and graduate it, and then But that story trailer looked pretty interesting.
And it ended up being leaked.
Lilith, the what you call it,
the mother of
female,
monsters,
the mother of darkness or whatever. She's coming back, and that was a pretty kick-ass story trailer.
And that ended up being leaked from a art book on some German website like a week beforehand.
Yeah, people were saying it, but everybody's like, "Oh, we don't want to fucking believe you for
they've
shit."
been talking about Diablo 4 for
a while,
for years, and last year they
announced
rumored,
the mobile game.
They were rumored to have a Diablo project, and then when they showed a mobile game instead of Diablo 4, people were mad.
I've never seen people mad about a video game like that, because of a video game announcement.
No, I have.
Weird.
I totally have, because you can see it out there on YouTube in clips. Look up the reaction to when Valve came out with the Dota card game Artifact.
Oh, because they thought it was Half-Life or something.
No, they thought it was a new Dota game. So
okay.
PC people are crazy about Dota, Defense of the Ancients. Like, they're all about that. And when they announced the Dota card game, there's literally an audience of their most hardcore people going, "Oh!"
I'm sure it's happened a few times.
It's been
I'm just
memed.
saying,
it's been
like
memed.
the way that it got blown out of proportion at that BlizzCon, people freaking out, and then the Blizzard drama that's been going on with the whole Hong Kong issue lately. There's so much
with
weird...
Hearthstone and Blizz Chung, who had like his prize money taken away, and then gave him back to him, and he got a year suspension, and then they went, "No, there's only 6 months."
Yeah, long and short of it, a guy that won something and was talking on air on Twitch at a Blizzard tournament for Hearthstone. He hopped in and he just was like, "Free Hong Kong" in the video.
He busted out a political stance on a non-political thing.
And there was repercussions for it coming from Blizzard, and most people are assuming due to the fact that they're partially owned by Tencent. And there's a big whole thing going on there.
Which is
huge.
A large Chinese company. So it was a hypothetical slight against China was the issue. Mm-hmm. So it's a very grown up
on-air things like that. Yeah,
political business thing, which is not
huge,
fun.
And it's a very it's very important in the climate of today. But it's
a free speech thing.
Yeah, it was an interesting topic to say the least. You guys can go check that out. There's a ton of people have been talking about it over the last few weeks, and a lot of people have been really mad at Blizzard
free speech
for that
versus business.
Yeah. They originally took the guy's money away, his winnings, and they banned him from the game and the announcers, and the announcers had nothing to do with it.
It got so bad that American politicians on both sides of the aisle agreed that it was like, no, that's not right. You got politicians to agree. That's how bad you messed up, Blizzard. You got politicians to agree.
Yeah, and they reinstated his winnings, and they ended up rolling back his suspension and giving him 6 months instead of his previous indefinite suspension.
Well, it was like a year or whatever. So it's good to see that the public outcry actually Blizzard checked themselves. And if they had taken his money, I think everyone would have agreed. Like, dude, you can't take somebody's prize money back because of what they said. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool. Well, I understand there was some like paperwork, legal NDA stuff that he may have breached by saying something that wasn't appropriate.
It's definitely a little problematic. We get it, but
and then the outcry I think across the board was because they also fired like the commentators, the people that were working. They were embarrassed, like they didn't know the guy was going to do this, and these like Chinese commentators or Asian commentators like put their head down and like tried to hide because they knew like, oh no, like the stuff is about to hit the fan. This is not going to be good.
They didn't
and
really
then they
have
fired
anything to
them
do with
for
it.
some reason.
So there was a lot of outcry. People were really worried about that due to BlizzCon being right around the corner. Yeah. They even canceled an Overwatch event, the Nintendo Switch Overwatch launch event. They canceled it.
The funniest thing is this still ended up getting a lot of promotion because normally as an American audience we wouldn't really care about a Korean or a Chinese Hearthstone event rather. And then now because of this, we're actually paying attention to it. And then a bunch of people that were on Twitter and Instagram were showing like uninstalling all of like their Blizzard products and stuff.
Oh,
and
so many people were deleting their account that the computer like had a server malfunction because they thought it was a hack.
Yeah, that people were deleting their account.
Well, it had a safety mechanism enable that it wouldn't let any people delete their accounts anymore because of a mass deletion.
It was a change.org like petition for a minute too.
Oh my
like
God.
It was one of those things.
It was going out, much out of hand. Long and short of it, you guys can definitely find a lot of details on that if it interests you. It was a big deal.
I do have to give the Blizzard employees props.
Because walkouts and stuff.
A lot of employees had problems with it. A lot of employees had walkouts. But in the same token, after Blizzard kind of readjusted their stance and kind of rolled back some of the severity of the penalties or whatever, they still had to come out and put on BlizzCon. They still had a good time for all their fans. Yeah. They still rolled out new products. And I think other companies should pay attention because that's how you handle a mistake. That's how you handle a whoops, our bad. Let's
do everything we can.
Unbreak this egg, put it back together, and see if we can salvage something out of this.
Yeah, like I was saying about the one event that they did cancel was the launch event for Nintendo Switch Overwatch, and I don't know if that was on Nintendo's part or theirs.
I think it was more of a Nintendo thing because Nintendo, being a Japanese company, did not want to get involved in this international ethics standoff. Yeah. Nintendo's nope, we make video games for people. We're out of here.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting story coming out of these past few weeks.
Speaking of Overwatch, I don't play myself, but I kind of loosely keep track of it. So it appears that Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 are one SKU now. They're one product. That's what I was reading.
Read into that.
Feel free to comment below.
By the way, Overwatch 2 is coming out.
That was one of the announcements.
It's
but
a huge announcement with PvE
and with Blizzard, they have those amazing interactive CG trailers that are the cutscenes that are in between. And they showed another giant cutscene that set up Overwatch 2, or the
It was pretty cool, too.
whatever the continuation of Overwatch is. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game.
So back to this thing what you were talking about. What do you mean they're going to be one product?
Let me pull it up. I think what it's going to end up being is Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch 1 refreshed. It's almost
update.
Like Destiny Year 2.
So people that own Overwatch will be able to get
Correct.
Get it for $30 instead of $60.
Let me pull up the article. I don't even believe they're even going to have that. I think they already have it if you own it. It's one of those things.
When it comes out,
yes,
it'll be available.
Because the way their loot box kind of back end works, how they make money off of that after the fact, I think they don't really need to.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So almost in the same vein of what Fortnite just did with the whole Chapter 2 thing.
Correct.
They just dropped the game, wiped the map, change everything, add this, add that.
Correct.
And how save the world. That's cool. I like it. I like that concept because a lot of games have been doing that already, but they're doing it in updates. I think this is a smart move on Blizzard's part because a lot of games will do updates like Destiny where they're like, oh, this update and that update's coming out, and now this update, Forsaken, and this and that. And they have all these drops, but people are like, oh, it's just the same Destiny. And then not a lot of people cared again until Destiny 2, but that was a whole new game. Now, for Overwatch to go, okay, it's Overwatch 2, but if you own Overwatch, you have it. It's just a huge update, but it's also still a second game. It's the second coming of Overwatch.
Okay, here you go.
Pretty interesting.
All of the cosmetics you have unlocked in the original game will carry over to Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
It is not a standard model for the sequel, but the game director Jeff Kaplan told Kotaku Australia that while it was a difficult decision, he believes that it is a model that best benefits the Overwatch player base. It's very, very challenging because the industry has done things the same way for so long. It's so hard to get people to push them out of their comfort zone and hey, I think we could do something better. So, ultimately, this model allows Overwatch 1 and 2. So apparently you're right, where it is technically a separate SKU, but they use the same servers, same login, and same backend. So what, almost like an add-on or an expansion, but it's technically a sequel.
Right. So the original owners of Overwatch will get it?
Yeah.
Or as an add-on?
You'll have to buy 2,
I assume, yeah.
But all of your purchases from one carry over.
Okay. But that's what I was wondering was, I thought it'd be really cool if they were like, yeah, just throw up $20, now you get Overwatch 2, but then everyone else, they buy this $50, $60 Overwatch 2 because they don't even own Overwatch.
Yeah, like an upgrade path or something.
That would be awesome because, they're just adding PvE, and they were saying that Overwatch 1 is basically still going to be playable.
Yeah, totally. PvP. They're still gonna support it.
Yeah, which was interesting to me. That's what when you said that, that's what made me go, wait a second, what?
Well, that's what makes me really kind of impressed that it's a live service game that you wouldn't necessarily think is a live service game. The way
it's been going though.
Oh no, totally. But the way they're preserving it, and it's not
It's a little different.
It's not a hard wall. Like when you went, not to compare it to Destiny, but like when you went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, like nothing really went from A to B. Yeah. It was just yep. You can go back and if you're on like PSN or Xbox, you look at your trophies, look at your achievements from the other game, and then that's it. Like
and that's what I was getting at when I was talking about the way I thought you were getting it, because I really would appreciate that like carryovers from games, like when they go to their second version of the game. Not like I was saying with Destiny, like you mentioned, like the updates, like incremental updates aren't that attractive to the public. They're just like, okay, it's an add-on. But if you go, it's Destiny or Destiny 3, let's say, but you, like I said, you only have to buy an add-on if you already own Destiny 2, but you buy a whole new game if you're somebody else, like it makes it so much more attractive, even though it is technically just a big-ass update. Yeah. You still got your characters, still got all your stuff. It would be really cool to see games start doing that instead of just dropping them. Yeah.
Well, speaking of games that are doing interesting, weird, changing stuff, so Death Stranding.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it was coming.
We were talking about weird stuff, and that's the weirdest stuff I can think of at the moment.
Real quick for Overwatch, just to wrap it up, before we get into this crazy conversation, check that out. The trailers for both Diablo 4 are awesome. They just dropped, and Overwatch 2. And the PvE mode, I honestly, looking at that trailer, was like, this is cool. This is the kind of Overwatch I would play. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like you're fighting robots and going on PvE missions and co-op missions with your friends. Yeah. And, like, the way that combat system is and the differences in characters, I think that'd be a really cool game. But, yeah, so Death Stranding. Wow. A lot of up and down reviews, but a solid 80+ on Metacritic, so that's good.
It overall is being rated as a good game overall. Depending upon which outlet you look at, whether it's an IGN or a GameSpot or a Giant Bomb or whoever, it's ranging between like 7s to 9s. It's kind of all over that upper echelon. So, yeah, it's a divisive Kojima game, which is what Kojima makes. Yeah, it is interesting. It is weird. It is kind of funny in a weird way. It's compelling. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. It's
a lot of people are saying that they're getting the story. They're wrapping their head around it now. Now that once they're 30+ hours into it.
Yeah. So we haven't gotten hands on, but we've done extensive research. We've heard and read a lot of reviews.
It doesn't even come out till November 8th, but the reviews are like, people have been waiting for so long for the answer to the question, what is Death Stranding, that the reviews are like hot fire right now.
So the overall impression that I've been getting from what I've been looking at with Death Stranding is it's Kojima not anchored to the Metal Gear franchise. It's Kojima being free of Metal Gear and being able to just come up with any weird, cool, interactive, abstract ideas. And I think that suits this game in a lot of ways, like pocket ladders from like a collapsible dimension space you just have in your pocket, or holograms giving you weird cosmetic items that let you swim faster. Then it just so happens to be Conan O'Brien gave it to you. You know what I mean? Just weird stuff as like
it's a very traversal game too,
as a protector / delivery man in this game.
Yeah, the long and short of the quickest way I can explain this story, as a full breakdown real quick, is you are a delivery man whose job is to reconnect the United States, and technically the world, but the United States, and you're going from there's 3 major regions that you cross paths with, and you and every other player in this game are rebuilding it together in a weird multiplayer style game, but you're never going to see them.
Then you used it by special babies. You have to use special babies.
Yeah, well, I know, but so the baby's part of it, yes, because of the reconnecting of the world. Like a baby is one of the only ways you can get into certain realms and yada yada. But
weird.
Everyone is underground, essentially. The real people of the planet are hiding underground, and they're trying to survive.
It's like an apocalypse type scenario.
Yes. So, but like I was saying with the connecting thing, like you can literally have other people, if they're ahead of you in the game and they rebuild a road or something, the road will now be there for you to cross, and it will help you on your trek from going from place to place. And like people can leave behind energy batteries and motorcycles for you, and you can do the same for them.
And that's one of the cool systems-based Kojima things that other games have taken that idea and tried to play with it, but they haven't nailed it to the systems way that Kojima has. Because even if you have no idea what the story is in half the Metal Gear games, or just like in this in Death Stranding,
still a weird and awesome game to play.
It is a logically systems-based game that feels amazing to play. Metal Gear had a weird story at certain chapters and certain points, but it was always a great shooter tactical game to actually mess with. And I think this carries that spirit through.
Yeah,
that it just makes sense.
And the mechanics of the game are unlike anything other games have to offer. And like it's made in the Decima engine, which is the same engine as Horizon Zero Dawn. And a lot of you may have played that, and it doesn't have a great climbing mechanic. It's very on board with climbing and your traversal. Like if you run down a hill, you'll slide and you'll stumble and stuff, but this game puts major emphasis on that. And they completely re-altered the engine so that its main connections to how the engine runs is based off of your character, balancing him, carrying weight, and like the way that you feel based off what you're using and how you're using it, and different upgrades. Like he was saying with the way that there's just so much stuff in a game like this and the mechanics that he uses. And that goes ranges from different kinds of boots to like hovercrafts to bikes to like all types of stuff, and different ways to carry your weight.
And to compare to some other contemporary games, it's doing things successfully and well that games like No Man's Sky or Fallout 76 have attempted and completely botched and boggled.
Yeah.
So like the No Man's Sky aspect of being able to like do something before anyone else. You're actually changing the game world. You're impacting the actual world. That was the whole pitch of No Man's Sky, is like the universe is interactable. And that's one of the things Death Stranding, the strands, it does very well. It links things together incredibly well. And the Fallout 76 aspect of, I don't need these boots anymore. Let me leave them behind for goodwill for the next stranger. Or let me like hide these in a bush. And, I'll tell my boy to come get them next week.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
The way that they thought about it was a great concept, but, like, really connecting is a whole nother level. And, like, that's kind of what this game's trying to accomplish. Hence him trying to go, like, say, this is going to be a new genre. It's going to be the Strand genre, which... We'll see how that turns out.
They did a lot of under-the-hood, behind-the-scenes work to enable that to work well and smoothly. That from a technical standpoint, if nothing else, is just impressive as all hell.
Yes, technically. And that's what I was going to say. It leans more towards, as you were mentioning, certain games. And I would say it goes more towards the Red Dead Online aspect, or Red Dead in general, Red Dead Redemption 2, and like Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda.
Correct.
And it leans more towards those, but even farther than that, mechanically wise. Not necessarily great gameplay like those games, but mechanically it's on a whole nother level, and that's like kind of the game in itself, is managing all these mechanics and learning which ones are useful to you at what time.
Well,
and literally mapping your way across this world out. And of course there is plenty of gameplay in between that. That's just the base of what you're doing in the game. And then of course there's enemies, and then you get sucked into different dimensions and goes deep.
Yeah, not to give too much of the story away, but I'm with it using that Decima engine that we said earlier. People were concerned that, hey, it's kind of a quick turnaround for a Kojima game. I don't know how this is going to run. I don't know if this is going to be polished enough. And from what everyone's saying, it's polished as all heck. So I think there were some very intentional sacrifices, like you were saying about some of the climbing physics and some of the things of that nature, like interacting with the environment.
Not sacrifices. They leaned into that, is what I was saying. The opposite is in Horizon there were sacrifices. In this game, they made the engine based around that, where you literally have to like tap triggers to balance yourself.
No, that's what I mean. Like they leaned into it and made it a mechanic, so it's not just one of those.
That's part of the gameplay.
Exactly. It's not just one of those things where you just hold A to scale up a wall, like one of those things. It's an interactive, like you are moving.
Oh man, it's nuts. It looks really cool in that aspect. Like it's not something me personally would drop $60 on to go out and make sure I have to play this game. But it seems like something that I have to play at some point.
I think it's a last great hurrah for the PlayStation 4 as an exclusive for a console, because it's one of those games that it's a first-party game without it being a first-party game. You know what I mean?
It's not nowhere near the last hurrah, though, man. We still got Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. They have confirmed both.
But I agree with you. However, I think both of them are going to be cross-generational.
Oh, of course. This one will.
We are so close to that. And with that being said, if it is a cross-generational game, and say they come out and they're amazing, and then they win Game of the Year or awards or whatever, they're going to be remembered as it ran better on PS5, so that's the version we remember, kind of thing.
Yeah, probably.
Just like they used to do with GameCube
I don't think that's going to happen this year. Maybe later they'll be able to remaster it when we get to like the 8K standards. They might have to, but I feel like they could just patch, like you could just chuck your PS4 disc into your PS5. I think it's going to run better.
I think they've been working very hard behind the scenes to do exactly what Xbox has already done.
Yes.
They signed a cloud licensing agreement with Microsoft to make sure that they can do what Microsoft has already done. Yeah. And I think it's going to be one of those things of, you bought it digitally. Your PS4 version automatically upgrades to the PS5.
Exactly, and that's why that's what I was saying. I don't think there's going to be a PS5 version.
It's just going to be. It's here. It downloads this 4 and 8K texture pack.
There's not going to be a Last of Us 2 remaster. No, there's going to be maybe a definitive update.
Yeah. Which, that being said, not to go off in a different direction real quick, but do you think the 8K TVs are going to be worthwhile and come down cheap enough? Because you hear Stadia, Xbox, and
maybe
PlayStation.
6 years.
That's what I'm saying. They're talking about 8K TVs. I just got a 4K TV within the past
most of us
4
don't
months.
have a 4K TV.
Yeah, exactly. I think they say
if we do, it's 1.
The adoption rate of 4K TVs is something like 30 or 40%.
Of what 1080p was. Yeah,
it's big. Don't get me wrong, but it's still way slower than everybody's race to HD was. And that's what I think. It's going to be one of those things that's a great technical benchmark that they're shooting for.
It's an incredible one.
But this needs to lock down 4K 60 before we start worrying about 8K.
I think it's a great way for them to be hey, look, it can do a super upsampled 4K that it reads as 8K, but then when they drop their Pro versions, it'll be like true 8K, and by the time people are starting to adopt the TVs.
And I think it'll be nice to have that generational jump, because even with this generation, you got to remember they're designing for the launch PS4, the slim PS4, the PS4 Pro, just like with the Xbox, the launch Xbox, which was super weak.
Dude, they're going hard. I got to give them credit.
The S, the X. So, by chopping off that low end of the spectrum, I think they can really make a nice upgrade, because we need some steady frame rate.
So, to roll it back real quick to Death Stranding, because before we get too off topic, as you said. But no, in general, I've heard decent things about the gameplay. As many people, as he mentioned, as many people have mentioned, it plays a lot like Metal Gear. So, if you've played a Metal Gear game, you kind of know what to expect. It's on another level. I mean, you could imagine, a little bit of the Horizon Zero Dawn feel mixed in with what a Metal Gear game is, due to the engine. And, that sounds all good and dandy. I'm cool with that. People are still super confused by the story, yet understand it, is what I've heard. Because you're technically by NDA right now, since the game is not released. No one's allowed to talk about spoilers after Chapter 3.
Yeah,
they have been really able to talk about it.
They have it locked down Persona style, where you can only show so much of the game.
Yeah, and it's the game is understood to the general public now, for the most part. Not fully, but it's there. And if you really like weird ass stories, and you're into those weird Netflix series and stuff like that, and you're willing to put in the 30 to 60 hour story, because I've heard ranges from 35 Greg Miller beat it at, someone said 47, somebody said 40 at IGN, and then other people are I'm 60 hours in, I'm only halfway.
I think I think it has a lot to do with how much you want to engage it with an open world.
Exactly.
How much
you want to rebuild,
how much do you also want to dig into these weird little side characters, or these pseudo celebrity cameos Jeff Keighley and Conan O'Brien and Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it's a dangerous game for a 100%er type.
Yes.
It'll be a good 120.
Somebody that wants to platinum,
hours.
I imagine it would take quite a while to do this kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I could see almost a 200-hour platinum in this game, based off of especially what the way the building thing is. I think that building thing's really cool though. The way people have been talking about it, I was that mechanic's really awesome. If anyone's played Dark Souls, the whole leaving messages behind to let you know this is around the corner, you can do those kind of things. But then you can throw a sign up and say, hey, be careful, this is about to happen. Or you have a long stretch ahead of you before you get to anywhere important. here, let me drop a battery charger for your bike,
And
then and there's a road on this side that charges your battery while you're on it, so make sure you take that direction. Like,
not even to
crazy.
mention the weird Kojima-ness of, you can pee somewhere and grow mushrooms that somebody else can pick. And it's like...
Somebody asked on the Kind of Funny Games Daily today, they said, or yesterday I think, they said, how significant is the urinating on things and apparently monsters in Death Stranding? And Craig Miller was like, no, it's not significant whatsoever. It's just a thing that you can do, and they needed it in the game. Like,
and it
I
was
like, wow.
It was one of those weird like moments that was picked out of like a tech demo that like, yep, this is a mechanic. We really believe in like keeping systems and mechanics real, and this is a thing. And it's like,
I thought that was awesome though. The whole rocking the baby thing, but a lot of people have said, I fall all the time and I'm dicking around all the time. Like they're stumbling down hills constantly, and they're like, I have to rock my baby all the time, and I hate it. And then other people are like, oh no, I'm taking the safe route. I'm taking every ladder I can. I'm using my this and that, and I haven't had to even shake the baby once. So it's like the kind of person you are.
Exactly,
is how you play
and I think it goes into your gameplay style of how you interact with the game.
Yes.
Like if you're a more, I don't want to say cautious person, but maybe a little bit more observant, shall we say. There's ways the game can push back against you that some games don't normally do.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
pretty
interesting.
Pretty interesting. But guys, check out some of the reviews for Death Stranding. It is very, indifferent. And for a lot of people, it leans one way or the other. But if you're interested in a story, I think it's the kind of game you might like, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, at least in trailer form, because it's interesting. Speaking of a game that is mostly rated good but still slightly divisive, we have been playing a lot of The Outer Worlds.
Oh, my God, yeah. I was gonna save it for a minute because we're just gonna go. But let's go for it. We already brought it up.
We might as well. Let's go for it.
I gotta try and remember my other stuff.
So
this game's so good.
We have been very busy. I have played several hours. Eric has played a heck of a lot more.
I'm probably I'm coming up on 25, maybe. 30,
See,
30 hours.
I'm just hitting like 9, 10.
Yeah, I'm like roughly like level 20-ish, but I've been doing a lot of walking and pacing myself.
For me, I've been playing it in like half hour here, 45 minutes there, an hour and a half here. I need to sit down and spend like an afternoon with this game. This is a game that begs to be devoured like a good book and like spend half a rainy day inside.
I'm trying to do my best to not get caught up in too many side quests before Star Wars comes out.
I'm already
you
getting
have to,
so.
you
that's
have to
all
go
I've
for
been
it,
doing.
Though. No, I know, but you can always go back. Dude, just do as many as you can, but don't talk to everybody.
I tell myself that in games like that all the time. I'll go back, and then I never go back, and then a month will go by, and then I stop playing the game.
But that's why we need to beat the story before Star Wars. We're not going to play this game anymore when Star Wars comes out. We'll play it eventually, but we're not going to play it if Star Wars comes out.
Little bit of an inside tip for the folks out there. This game started off with me collecting money for funeral plots from other people. So I got sucked in real deep of, oh my God, that's terrible, but I need space bucks.
Yeah. You did. Oh man, you're probably so far behind. I don't even want to spoil anything.
I've just left the first world.
I really enjoy the story.
I super enjoy it. What I enjoy more than anything else is the ability to, via the dialogue and perk system, just straight con your way through this game.
Oh my God, dude,
you can mess up this game and have it land on your feet or land on your head in such a brilliant way. So not to give anything away late game, we'll just talk about early game stuff so we're not spoiling anything. But you start off, you get drop potted down to the surface, and you're down there, and then you're supposed to meet up this dude with a ship, and your drop pod just straight lands on the dude that you're supposed to meet up with, and he's just squished. And the AI that you're talking to is like, oh, well, yep, that sucks. I guess you gotta go find this ship. And then you're just running around fighting these beasts looking for this ship, and then you come across these, for all intents and purposes, like space parking cops that are like, oh, dude, who parked their ship over here, not in this parking lot, didn't pay any fees. Now I gotta tow this spaceship or write a ticket. Is this your ship? Nope. And then you walk on.
I said yes. I was like, this is my ship.
I went,
totally my ship.
I went, nope. But look at all these angry marauders and thugs down here. what are we gonna do? I don't know, but you're a cop. You should do something about that. And yep, I straight con these dudes into going and fighting with the Marauders with me because I don't want to fight a bunch of Marauders by myself. So me and these two space cop dudes go mess these Marauders up. I loot the Marauders, and then before I go talk to the space cops, I get right in that ship.
Yeah, you just left?
I got right in the ship and then proceeded to con my way through the ship's AI. Of like, I can only respond to Captain Bob. Yeah. So you're Captain Bob now Hawthorne, if I respond to you, right?
Yeah, there you go. So, like, half the people in the game, you have to decide when you show up on planet with his ship if you want to be Captain Hawthorne or you want to be Captain... insert name.
Literally from get-go can be like, well, I can make a whole fake identity for the fake person I just made, or I can just steal someone else's. Let's see how this plays out. And then you come outside again, or at least I did, and then the space cops are like, hey, buddy, you just strolled right into that ship there. You sure that's not your ship? You're like, no, it's not my ship, but I can get rid of it for you. You can't just take the ship. Like, there's a ticket on it and all that. Yeah. And then I used my charisma skill, my talking skill again, and I was like, yeah, but I just helped you guys kill all these Marauders, so that's a lot of paperwork. Why don't we just call it square and we'll get out of here? And they're like, yeah, you're right. That was a good call. And what's that? Oh, you patched up our boy? All right, we're square.
Dude, they got mad at you for patching their boy up. They're like, you're not allowed to touch a cop and help him for any reason whatsoever.
Dude even said in the beginning, please don't help me. It's out of my insurance network if somebody else fixes me. They'll dock my pay if somebody else fixes me.
It's crazy, dude. It was the game, so funny. The game sets a precedent immediately. It's like, guys, get ready because you really need to make decisions.
It makes me feel like a cross between old Fallout, like Fallout 3 and Fallout 2, and Borderlands. It's that very yep. The game's gonna mess with you. The game is gonna be like, yep, there's some totally twisted choices you're gonna have to make, and it doesn't really matter no matter what one you did. Whether you shot the guy, saved the girl, shot the girl, got the gun.
It kind of doesn't planet to planet, but in the big picture, everything you do kind of does matter.
It does and doesn't, and I like the fact that it plays with your perspective of like, I'm gonna do what I think is right, but I ended up helping a criminal accidentally. Like, oh no!
Every time, there's always a moment where you're like, God, I was cool with you, bro. I was cool with you, but now you're a cuck.
In the way that like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and The Witcher will have like these double-edged way to play like a story quest. This has the same thing, but it does it in like such like a tongue-in-cheek, funny kind of way. So another
and fucked up way, totally. A lot of the time.
And like, so you're let out of like a stasis frozen chamber by a mad scientist. And that's like one of the first major decisions in the game is you can just start telling people where this mad scientist dude is. Because apparently he's like intergalactically wanted Rick and Morty style, where they're like looking for this dude. So you can just straight dime him out from the beginning, or you can run secret quests for this dude. So although this isn't necessarily a longer game, depending upon how you play it and how much you engage with the side quests, they say it's anywhere between like 20 to like 35, 40 hours.
Yeah, I heard some people say like 50
but
at the most.
It's a game that branches and forks so hard that there is intense replayability.
And there is a 100-hour game in there if you take it that far.
And not only that, but the skill tree branches so hard that like...
Oh my God, it's so awesome.
You really end up gimping yourself if you only try and balance everything evenly. You really need to kind of pick like two...
One path.
Well, I was going to say like one main, one light, and then really go for it. So I went like hard into charisma and then like pretty decent into tech.
I did the same kind of setup. I think everybody did.
Got me mostly through. But in the same build,
in tech they gave you engineering. Sorry to cut you off real quick, but and medical engineering, and then what's the other one in there? Not hacking.
It's like science.
I think it's something along those lines. Yeah. But it's basically the science section, but they threw medical in there, and I was like, that's great. Let's go. And then the other one that we also picked was
that's a very Fallout
persuasion, inspiration, and persuasion, intimidation, and lying. And it has those three. So like, if you pick those two heavy, like you can get your way out of anything, but also like hack your way into stuff, and it's great.
Well, and what you have to be careful of later on in the game and in certain side quests is if you try and do like a high persuade or a high intimidate, and then you're challenged by another dude that starts a fight, and then you're just real weak in guns, and you totally have not leveled up your gun skill.
You gotta balance it, definitely.
Yeah,
you gotta balance. But the good thing about being a high in engineering and science and all that is that your upgrades later are way better because of it. So like because your guns are a separate thing, your engineering helps make your shit better, and then you also have stealth that has hacking, lockpicking, and sneaking. Well, and then defense.
I'm glad you brought up stealth, because stealth is another mechanic that employs heavily when you're going melee. Because if you go stealth and melee, then you just out of nowhere start shanking people.
Heavy damage.
Yep.
I was thinking about going.
You need that
melee.
Because you can't stand up to a lot of bullets for long, especially if you're going hard.
If you're going melee stealth, you have to go defense as well. Like you got to do like those 3 as your main, and then go with the other stuff after. If you really want to go that way, because you got to have heavy like armor and run in and be able to 1-hit, 2-hit kill people with melee.
But this is a great game. This is a familiar meal. This is like,
it's
great,
super Fallout,
great
but
steak and potatoes. It's a great it's not even it's a great Fallout game, but it's not a Fallout game. But it's just a great classic RPG. It feels of like a BioWare game from like 20 years ago. In all the best ways and in all the worst ways, it feels like a BioWare game from 20 years ago. It's got a little bit of a clunk to it, a little bit of a jank, which you kind of expect with the open world, but it's higher quality than like a Bethesda jank. No, I haven't had any bad like bugginess or broken glitches, but like
stiff than jank.
Yes, thank you. That's
as if you didn't hear
I've
me.
had
It's more
I've
like
had
stiff
some
than
I've
jank.
had some like character model armor stuff like
Yeah.
I had to take it on and put it off a couple times until it loaded right, kind of thing.
Yeah, and stupid, silly stuff, but it was mainly like slowing down and more than actually having an issue, which I was kind of surprised about.
And speaking of slowing down, I've been playing on the Xbox One X in 4K. You've been playing on a standard PS4. Yeah. How are the load times for you?
Great.
Oh, really? Okay. Mine are solid. Mine are good.
The longest, if it's like a crazy area, maybe 3 minutes. Like.
Oh no! See, I'm getting like 40-second loads.
Yeah, no, I said at the longest. Okay, that's my longest time. Usually they're only like in between 20 and a minute. Yeah, 20 seconds and a minute. Like
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Because I know that
honestly, the thing is, I've noticed is the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro end up having longer load times a lot of the time because of the
higher textures. Yeah, which is true. That was just one of the weird things that, as a byproduct of Obsidian, who made the game, being owned by Microsoft now, Outer Worlds still came out on PS4 because it was going to before Microsoft purchased them. But they didn't release a PS4 Pro optimization for it.
Not a heavy one, no. It's still in like 4K, but it's not like amazing.
Well, it's upsampling 4K. Yeah. It's not native 4K because they optimized it for the Xbox One X.
Which Obsidian,
which
and
I'm not surprised because Microsoft owns them.
Well, and Bethesda and Obsidian always have kind of used that kind of software. Like they go with PC Microsoft softwares. They always kind of lean in that direction. And bringing up those two companies real quick, I wanted to say this is the other thing I really love about this game is like it's kind of almost like a slight redemption story in a way for the developers. Absolutely. Where now I don't know about animosity or anything like that, but they've stated that Obsidian stated that they felt like they kind of lost their baby in a sense. They loved the Fallout world and that universe, and they made New Vegas. If you guys didn't know, they made Fallout New Vegas, and they made the first and second Fallout games. But the issue is that they got kind of screwed when Bethesda claimed ownership of Fallout, and they were left in the dust on that.
They have the team that made the original Fallout games.
Yes,
they were at a different studio when they made the Fallout games.
Yes, okay, yeah, but
so
they lost
the same dudes, different company.
Yeah, but then Obsidian themselves actually did make Fallout New Vegas, but they didn't get a chance to do so afterwards, and they weren't going to get another chance essentially.
Correct, because Obsidian got licensed New Vegas from Bethesda, who bought it after Black Isle, I want to say, who had Fallout originally, went under back in the
original
isometric
company. So it's a cool little redemption story. The fact that they get to make their version of a Fallout game, like their real version of it, like the one that they feel like they would have won it with no ties, nobody telling them what to do. It was a little rushed and a little more independent style of a game, not necessarily a AAA version of
And-
Fallout, but they love the chance to get it, and in my opinion, they did a better job than what we've seen from Fallout even 4. Like it feels so good.
And Obsidian has been going hard in the RPG space for a very long
Very long
time.
time.
They came out with a series called Pillars of Eternity, which was more or less a spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, all of these kind of early mid-90s top-down hardcore Dungeons and Dragons RPG, and they made 2 of them. The second one, I believe, was just ported to the Switch not too long ago, and that was one of the big Microsoft things was, let's get these games everywhere. We have these amazing guys on this amazing team with a ton of ideas, a ton of experience, and they just keep making these amazing games that are just under hits, that are just half a notch below, like, something big. So to have Microsoft back them and give them, like, the capital, be like, hey, man, just play in the sandbox, have fun, I think is really going to make some awesome products. A. B, because they have Microsoft kind of backing them right now, and Phil Spencer and I believe Matt Booty is running the studios and letting them do all that. Some interesting things are happening. Outer Worlds was a Game Pass launch. So me as a Game Pass member, I didn't have to pay for the game. Got it day one launch, ran through, had some fun, great times. I didn't have to buy it. So that was another super great reason for me to play on Xbox.
Yeah.
2, to kind of tease people for that, like, taste of an Obsidian game, Microsoft, who has always been super cool with Bethesda, actually negotiated for the first time to get Fallout New Vegas on Game Pass.
That's cool.
And put a bunch of, like, upsample, like, textures and stuff on it to where it looks...
Good idea.
It looks really awesome. You can go and play New Vegas right now
and Outer Worlds
from 360 version upsampled on any of the Xboxes.
Oh, yeah, it's cool.
And Outer Worlds. So, like, they're really bringing that Obsidian catalog and really kind of touting it. So I hardcore believe Microsoft, if this game kind of is received over the holiday season as well as Microsoft would like it to be, could totally try and make this into a franchise they want to bring out.
In all honesty, I've heard nothing really but good things about the game in the most part. Like, I've heard a few people say, it's not really what I'm looking for right now, but the people who like these kind of games love it.
It reminds me of State of Decay 1 in a lot of ways, where it shows so much potential. It's rough around the edges noticeably in some ways.
Which the directors themselves said
almost
that.
a little flat, but they did it purposefully flat because I think they were shooting for a certain kind of style.
And they mentioned that they didn't want to go too far in this game on purpose, being that they just got bought up by Microsoft and they want to move on. They want to get this project out there and not make it too deep of a game.
And
that's why we ended up with that 40-hour mark.
And going back to their previous titles that they launched, Pillar of Eternity. Pillar of Eternity 1 was critically awarded. I think it was like 2015 or something. It came out and it won like some GDC awards or some stuff. But it was crowdfunded, and then they did the same thing for the second one. But the problem with the second one, because the first one was successful enough that it needed a second one or had the audience for a second one, it got feature creep. It got that so many bells and whistles and so many side quests. I think they learned that lesson. Yeah. It can get out of control, delay a game, and then I don't want to say the game gets lost, but it gets muddled down. Like you're watering down the juice too much, if that makes sense. Yeah, you make a good
point there. That's probably what the side effect of this. Like they're like, you know what? Let's make sure we don't go too far with this.
And I think that's one of the things that Microsoft really liked about them when they decided to acquire them is that, oh, hey, we know we still have to get something out the door in 2 years or 3 years. It's great that we want to do C, D, and E features, but like A, B, and C have to come first, and that's the core. Yeah, and I think
they said it's like they left out the relationship stuff and all that for those reasons.
And we've mentioned it before, but Ryan McCaffrey does IGN Unfiltered, these kind of one-on-ones. He did it with the Obsidian guy before they actually got bought by Microsoft.
The art director and the game director.
Yeah, and then they did it with the art director and game director after they got acquired.
Oh.
It's Fergus Arquad, which that's an interesting name, but he's a really cool, personable dude, and it was a great great interview. So check that out if you really want to learn about Obsidian.
And speaking of which, I got one more that you guys definitely need to check out, and you need to. I did send this to you. I'm not sure if you checked it out.
The Todd Howard one.
Yes, but it's not just Todd Howard. So it's the art. I think it's the Art Institute, something, whatever. But
yeah,
it's like the AIAS Gamers, Game Makers Notebook.
They did like a panel.
It's not just no. It's the Game Makers Notebook podcast. Mm-hmm. It is a podcast where different game developers interview other game developers from different studios. And they did the one I found originally was the head of Santa Monica Studios, Shannon Studstill. Did one with Ted. No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say Todd Howard. It's They said Ted. What's his name? I want to say Ted Price, but I think I'm wrong. Who's the head of Insomniac?
Oh,
I think it's Ted Price.
It might be Ted Price. I can't recall.
I want to say Ted Price. It says Ted here. You guys know who it is. I know you do. I'm messed up right now. But that podcast in general, it is Ted Price. I was right. Okay. Yeah, you need to check that out. They just did one with the Outer Worlds, and it was Ted Price and the co-game director again, Leonard Boyarsky. And it was awesome. This one was so good. And this is after the game came out. And Ted's sitting there, like, fanboying a little bit. He said it, like, 3 times. He's like, dude, like, I'm really getting deep into this game. The way you made this feel and that feel like, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm fanboying again a little bit. Like, it was cool to see the guy who helped make Spider-Man an amazing game and many other games from Insomniac, like, him talking to this guy and appreciating it the way it was.
Sunset Overdrive.
I love this podcast. That's what it's like, the Arts Institution and Association or something. The Game Makers Handbook, it's called. Okay. And it's really, really good. There's like 100 of them already on there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, go check that out. Back to the Outer Worlds. To put it short and sweet, in my opinion, it's an amazing game. And I'm not a huge Fallout person. I love the Fallout games. I do not like getting into a 150+ hour game because I'm a completionist.
Sure. And
it bothers me. Well, like you said, you don't finish them.
And it takes a certain type of RPG to grab you to even attempt to think about going 100 hours.
Well, that too, but it just after 30 hours you're like, oh my god, I'm still doing this.
And not only that, you run into that Final Fantasy 15 syndrome where like, oh, it gets good after the first 10 hours. So it's like, I don't want to sit through 10 hours of junk to get
apparently
to
the Death Stranding syndrome now, where that feels the same way.
From what I hear from the Death Stranding syndrome is it's not that it takes that long to get good. It takes you that long to understand how the game works. For you to understand that it's good.
Because they said that, to bring it back to that real quick, they said the game mechanics in that, like, if you, it like introduces something that, and then you push and push and push and do it and do it and do it to the point where it gets annoying. And then just when you're getting tired of it, they introduce a mechanic to help you get past that type of thing. And that's kind of the gameplay loop in that game.
From the way that Death Stranding starts off, it sounds like you're just eating something and you don't know what the hell you're eating and you're trying to figure out what you're eating as you're chewing.
But you need to finish it.
Yeah, but you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You'll get through it and you'll figure it out.
You kind of enjoy it, but you're not sure if you enjoy it. But you're definitely you're kind of hungry, so you're gonna eat it.
This is kind of good, but it's chewy. I don't know.
Definitely chewy. I could see it being chewy. Yeah, but Outer Worlds, I would say I recommend the hell out of that.
Yeah, if you have a Windows 10 PC or an Xbox, you can get it through Game Pass for $1.
Yeah.
Try it for a month. I highly recommend it for $1. Go play this game. If you need something to play, Game Pass. I hate to sound like a Microsoft fanboy, but dude, like, that's possibly one of the best deals out there. Yeah. I don't have to buy like junky $20 games anymore because anything I could possibly want, like, on the random is on Game Pass.
Yes,
so
and speaking of Game Pass, I do have this little card that I'm not going to use, and Chris has Game Pass Ultimate. It's a 14-day Ultimate Game Pass trial, and it doesn't expire for a long time. So I'm probably going to be giving that away soon. If you guys made it this far into the podcast, you're the ones who deserve it.
Yeah, so keep your eyes out for that. If you already have Game Pass, you can add it to your account. It'll just give you 2 extra weeks.
Probably going to chuck it up in our next solo video, and I'll leave it up there and then have you guys drop a comment. I'll just pick a random comment because since I don't know most people's usernames that I know, I can randomly just pick somebody.
Yep. And
then boom, you get it. I'll just send you the code. But yeah, dude, what would you say? You'd recommend it overall?
Oh, absolutely. It's a little bit of a learning curve to get used to it if you haven't played that style game in a while. I died a lot in the beginning, but definitely give it a try. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel the exact same way about it. It surprised me.
Yeah, totally.
For some reason, when you said you were playing it and a couple other people, I was like, I got this weird urge the night it came out, and I was like, let me watch like a before you buy on it real quick. I watched it and was like, I'm buying this right now.
I would personally give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a solid B+. Like it has some things I would love to see polished up and changed.
I think when you get farther, it won't bother you anymore. I think they're gonna be more polished as you get into it.
I think the problem is I shouldn't say problem, but the hesitancy is that I have played so much Fallout over the years, and I played so many Fallout games that I almost want it
too much like them. Yeah.
Well, I almost want it to play more like a Fallout game, and it tries to differentiate itself which I like. I want it to differentiate itself because it's a different game than Fallout. But it's still
more towards the slow pacedness of Fallout, and this leans more towards the fast pacedness.
It has a little bit of Borderlands in the Fallout.
Which I was gonna say, I feel like that's why most
isn't
people.
Bad. That's also why it's engaging more people. But it's kind of reminding me what Fallout 4 did, and it's putting the emphasis on combat in a game where combat isn't necessarily the most polished part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's kind of cool because I think they needed that for a long time.
I'll agree with you, but for me, the gold star, like the best part of that is like the skill tree, the conversation, the tech options, the multiple ways to solve stuff, and combat is kind of a last, I don't want to say a last resort, but like a way down the list way of solving the problem. Because you wanted to
see something different or more from that side of the game, where they purposely left a lot of that out.
You come across raiders and marauders all the time in that game.
I love that.
And beasts and animals, which is fine, which is great. But it's
you haven't reached other planets too much yet, so I don't want to hear your shit. You're only gonna run into those guys until you get out there, dude. I have so many different weird ass aliens.
and I bet you absolutely do. But I'm saying the way that like just the random open world spawning is, like, you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Play a little more and get back to them, and I bet you'll not care as much.
Oh no, it's RPG.
I get why though. I was gonna say it's
RPG enough. I'm definitely in it. Because that was one of the things about the Borderlands series that never really grabbed me. It was more like action looter shooter.
It wasn't RPG enough.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
They tried, they dabbled, but like this is firmly RPG.
Yeah, I was gonna say you love the RPG stuff, so I could see you wanting a little more out of that side of it, like something that Fallout's lacked to do as well. And you get to a point with Fallout of playing it over and over and over again. You're like, okay, I know what to expect. Give me something more from it. Yeah. And whereas this is purposely not giving us something more. They want it to go more towards, like you said, the combat.
And at the same token, the other game I'm playing on Switch kind of is like my, you know, laying in bed, sitting on the couch watching TV kind of game. I'm still playing Fire Emblem Three Houses because that game is ridiculously huge. Yeah. There is a huge amount of exposition in between every battle. I love the combat system. I love like the turn-based battlers because I'm that turn-based RPG kind of guy. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. The training and all that, the scheduling, like the little meticulous nature of like building your squad and teaching them to level up. It's awesome. Holy crap, does that game take forever though? Like it literally is like, okay, I'm in between battles. It's gonna be 45 minutes of me like just side questing and training and tweaking and doing and BSing.
Yeah, BSing.
And it's got like that Persona-esque, like just working through the calendar. You just go month by month. Oh, one of your guys got a birthday coming up. You want to buy him some chocolates? You want 200 gold pieces for some chocolates, guys?
I think that almost covers it. I want to drop a few more things. Call of Duty just came out.
Yes.
And Fortnite Season 2 just dropped, and a few weeks ago, and we missed talking about it.
Fortnite Chapter 2, which
Season 2, I said Chapter 2, yes.
Chapter 2 came after 10 seasons of Chapter 1.
Yeah, which I'm so happy it did. And that, so to get into Call of Duty real quick first, before I get into Fortnite.
Okay, go for it.
So I played a whole lot of the beta of Call of Duty. I loved it. Have a ton of gameplay recorded, so I'm probably going to release some of that And the game itself has been nothing but pretty much well received.
Yeah, it feels awesome.
From a ton of Call of Duty fans that I've followed from the past, and like people just even online, they hop in from not playing Call of Duties in years, and they're like, "Wow, this is the best one since MW2."
And I think it's a game that they had to make the best one.
Oh my god!
Competing against Apex, competing against Fortnite, that are free to play games where there's literally no bar to entry. You just download them and you're good to go. I think they needed to make a product that was so good you had to have a reason for them to get your $60 to play this. And not only the amazing story campaign, but the polish of the mechanics for the just run and gun multiplayer shooter is the best it's been in years.
Yeah,
best it's been in years.
That's all I've heard is great things about it. The perk system all is incredible this time around. The gun system, like everything, how you can set everything up, the attachments, the amount of guns. Everything everybody's happy about, the way the kill streaks work.
And they haven't gone crazy future. It's a grounded, realistic story, and I think that's what a lot of people needed, was something that was not super sci-fi, wall running, jumping, which is great. Don't get me wrong, love all that. Big fan of Titanfall, love Respawn, but Call of Duty needed to be something else.
Yeah, and they even went as far as to make like a more Battlefield mode where there's like you got helicopters now and tanks, and like they did a great job. And they even added they brought Spec Ops mode back. They brought the survival mode for PS4 exclusive. They brought they also brought in whatchamacallit, a co-op back to the campaign. Like, they did everything that people wanted for years. They're like, we have to do this, we have to do that, and we have to do this.
Which Battlefield 5 just put out a big update trying to like drum up support. Well, it's not even match it, because Battlefield 5 really took it on the chin. It was a solid game that had problems at launch that literally just lost its audience. Battlefield 1 was fantastic, and then everyone that was playing that went to other shooters, whether it was Call of Duty or Apex or whatever, and it just kind of went and fizzled.
It's sad. There's too many games right now. Dude, that's a big part of it. And
I never thought
issue with EA.
I'd never thought I'd see the day where too many games was the actual problem.
And it's insane. That's what we were talking about earlier in the podcast. Yep. Like, it felt like there wasn't that hot of a season, and then you get here and you're like, oh, this game just came out. This game's coming out. This game just came out. Oh my god, another game. Oh man, we're totally not playing that game.
Much like we said on a podcast 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. Some of these games aren't like having a big drum up before they come out. They are like dropping, and 2 days before they drop, all of a sudden you're just getting constant ads and a media blitz. And you're like, oh crap, I completely forgot that game was coming out.
It's insane.
Like, we were talking about it earlier, Fallen Order Star Wars comes out in like not even 2 weeks, and it was like, dude, that game feels like it's coming out of nowhere all of a sudden. I'm excited
for it. Like I said, I need to hurry up and beat Outer Worlds. We got literally a week and a half for that game to come out, and that is all I'm playing.
Getting a physical copy, and my friends
me too.
are already asking me, hey, can I borrow that when you're done with it? I'm like, sure. I don't know
why don't you buy it, you fucking lazy, broke sons of bitches. Anyway.
Isn't that what friends are for?
yeah, you. No, but that I want to make a whole other video on.
We're probably going to have
much to talk about.
We're probably going to have like a standalone kind of breakout on that, because that one, there's a lot to get into in that, from mechanical, like how's it play feel, but just Star Wars. You were saying you're getting your buddy on just doing a straight Star Wars podcast.
So hype about it. And to mention how many damn games that are out, you got games like Fortnite taking up so much space with people. Chapter 2 drops.
Fortnite more or less completely I don't want to say rebooted their engine, but they made a huge engine update.
It's insane.
To where there's a lot more verticality to the map. You can swim in the water. Like, they really kind of took the game offline, made it an event that they took the game offline, and you're staring at
it like no other.
Staring at a screensaver, balanced it like no other, and then they removed pretty much all the weapons except for a fistful of stock weapons.
It's pretty much the OGs, but like fine-tuned, modified, added a few extra rarities.
I was actually going through and watching the trailer again for it, and they do have the hunting rifle in that trailer, so that's going to end up coming back soon.
Yes.
Which is good. I mean, they have like sniper rifles still now, but the hunting rifle is still like,
it's one of the OGs.
Yeah, I prefer that to a green snipe, honestly.
Oh yeah, it is great. I love the game overall again, and I did not want to play it for a good couple seasons. It got too ridiculous, and now it's very calm. If you guys haven't played Fortnite again, and you did enjoy that game, please do me a favor. At least download it and try it.
They have officially added bots. So every once in a while, you run across a player that is just picking at a wall. You take a pop shot at him, and he like runs in a circle and builds a wall and starts harvesting materials again.
At first, it's great that they're there because you feel like a boss when you hop in the game. You're like, oh, get this kill, get that kill, get this kill, and now they're just like there, and you're like, okay, free kill. Like,
yeah, well, it feels like a little bit more of a walking pinata kind of scenario. Like
almost, they just bring you like 40 mats and a gun,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a nice way for people that are maybe on the lower end of the skill tree to be able to get some kills. And not only that, it's a great way to polish your actual like target practice.
When I was playing it heavy, like I was okay with whatever, but now it's like I came back and I wasn't great. I hopped in the first match, had half bots, half people. I won my first game. I was like, are you kidding me?
I just think they haven't broke down the actual like percentage of how many, but from what I've played, because I play Fortnite a decent bit with my friends, I want to say there's probably about 30 bots in a match. Well, it seems like it's like a third bot.
At first, yes.
Because when you usually get through that first circle, you're down to like 60 or 50 people real quick.
Yeah, they do that on purpose. You're getting free kills.
Yeah, well, free kills, and I think it's also just moving the pace of the game along. You're not getting any of these games where it's like 92 people or something anymore.
It lasts forever.
Yeah, you're literally getting just every spot filled, which I think is a smart thing to do, is to make sure there's no empty seats.
Yeah, I love it. I think they did great with that. The concept works
It's important
well.
to mention though, they do not have bots in their like
competitive
ranked arena mode or anything like that. So your friendly, your social modes literally are a little bit more friendly and social as you cut your teeth on the game, and I think that's very smart for them to kind of onboard people, but also keep people that haven't played in a while kind of just in practice.
Yes, and it doesn't affect the end game whatsoever because all the bots are gone, and if there is one, oh well, someone will pick them off, no problem. And then it's nice because it eases you back into the game very well. And as I was saying, towards the beginning, you're getting like 40, 50-ish bots, I'd say, in the very beginning when you're very low rank, and then once you're getting in, it goes like 30, 20, and then it's like 15 or 10 bots
as you
when
work your way
when you're up in the higher ranks and you're doing better. They throw in a couple, like they'll throw one here, two there, just for some people to get started. And like it's usually they'll send them literally in the direction of the players that aren't as good. Yeah. It's cool though. I like that they did that. Overall, I'm digging that update.
I think it was a solid update from a company that's making a small fortune every day.
Yeah, much needed. And they got rid of all traversal, by the way. No more launch pads. No more anything except boats. That's it. That's literally it. You are back to walking.
You can still use the nuclear power plant to launch yourself.
Yeah, there's a few things.
And there's the zip lines on the power.
Yes, but you are not traversing across the map to the circle anymore, unless you're riding a boat on land. And
there's no more vehicles really, and there's no more bounce pads.
It's good move on their part. I love it. So overall, that pretty much covers the mass of the last 2 weeks. The more important things. I know we missed a ton. It's been a while, guys.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be back at it, back in the flow. I'm gonna be moving out of here very soon. I'm gonna try to get a couple of videos up in between now and then when we get started and we get a full podcast going, we should be in a nice new place.
And as we said, keep an eye out for the audio only versions on SoundCloud and Google Podcasts, and like we said, we're working on Apple Podcasts, so hopefully have that up soon for all the iTunes users and Apple users.
Go check those out. Drop us even a like on SoundCloud, a review on Google Podcasts, whatever. Follow it, subscribe to the things. It'll help us a lot. It'll boost us up a little bit.
If it's not a service that you use,
let us know.
Keep an eye out. We can just give you the RSS feed directly in the comments.
That as well. Let us know what podcast services you do use. On some of the more popular ones, I would be happy to add our RSS to that, and so that we're out there everywhere we can be. Please like and subscribe to the video, and if you're listening on audio, make sure you come over and check out our other stuff. We got a ton of content, and follow us on other social medias and stuff as well. I'll be giving out this soon, probably in our next video. Game Pass, check that out. So, but stay, as always, keep it going, stay tuned,
and keep on gaming, guys.
He's got it. Peace out, guys.
Later.